Good day, everybody. I hope that you are well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Before we before we go on to our lesson for today, we said we are doing grade 8 English lesson on prefixes. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once we've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English language arts. Once you've selected the subject of English language art, and we're going to select the subject of English language arts, grade 8, all right, and then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of prefixes. All right, so our chapter is prefixes. Our subject is English language arts. Grade 8. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of prefixes is words with pre and words with re. And that is our lessons for today. Words with pre and words with re. All right. So when it comes to prefixes, right? Pre, if you already look at the word prefixes, right? Prefixes can be added to the beginning of a base word to create a new word. So a prefix can be added to the beginning of a base word to create a new word. And knowing the meaning of a prefix can help you to determine the meaning of a word. So, prefix, right? So the word pre, it means before. That is why they said knowing the meaning of the word can help you to determine the meaning of the word. Knowing the meaning of the prefix can help you determine the meaning of the word. Here we have the first prefix, which is pre. And this word pre, we're going to add in front of a base word or a word that can stand on its own. And here we have a few examples, right? So pre means before. So if we have the first word pre-made, pre-made, then it means that pre-made means that we made something before. It's like not even before, but it's like something that I did before I made anything else. Pre-made. It's before I made something. Then we have another one which is predates. And predates mean either things or basically things. I'm going to say things or animals way before, let's say, people, or things that was way before something else. Let's say, for example, I make mention of a laptop, right? Something that predates a laptop is a computer. Computers were there way before laptops. Your Nokias were there way before your iPhones. So literally things predates way before something else. Then we have another word which is pre-screen. Pre-screen. And pre-screen, right? Let's say for example, Fast and the Furious comes out, right? So now what they do is before it goes onto the big screens, before we go and watch it in the cinema, they have basically a pre-viewing or pre-screen of that specific movie. So it's before it officially comes onto the big screens, before it comes on Netflix, before it comes on Showmax, or before it comes on any other television network. And then, let's say, for example, maybe they'll call celebrities to come and watch it before it is on the screens for everybody else to watch. All right. So once again, pre means before. So if you see the word pre before a word or at the beginning of the word, then you must know that word pre means before. So whatever word that is added, not even added, but whatever word the prefix is added to will then be before before All right. Now we also have another prefix, right? Another word that is added to the beginning of a base word to create a new word. And remember, a base word is a word that can stand on its own. I can make a lot of sentences with a base word on its own. But now, prefix, the word that is added at the beginning of a base word, this word is re. And re means again. Re means again. And if we look at a few examples, right, of prefixes or words with prefixes, and then we can say the first one is refold. So refold. Remember, it's like I said earlier on also about the pre. Once you have the word re in front of it, we know already that means again. So, for example, refold. If I were to refold something, if I were to refold something, then it means that I'm going to fold something again. Refolding something means that I'm folding it again. Because that is what refold means. Fold again. Rebalance. Rebalance. Remember the word re already means again. So rebalance would mean it's almost like I'm regaining my balance again. So rebalance is like getting my balance again. And then we have reconnect. It's like I'm connecting again. Like, let's say, for example, you haven't seen somebody in a very long time. And now, after time, you guys meet up and you're talking as if you did not see each other in a very long time. That is you reconnecting with that person. So that is reconnect. So once again, prefixes is a word that we add at the beginning of a base word. And a base word is a word that can stand on its own. And once we add a word, the prefix at the beginning of a base word, right? That is to basically create a new word. And knowing the meaning of your prefix, like pre or re, and we're going to learn about more, will help you to determine the meaning of a word. Because yes, you know what the base word mean, or sometimes if you don't know what the base word mean, if by looking at the prefix and knowing the meaning of the prefix, that will basically help you to determine the meaning of the word altogether with the prefix included. And we said pre means before, re means again. So if you see a word pre before a word or at the beginning of a base word, then you must know that that word is to do with something before it's made, before dates, before screening. Same with re. If you see re within the prefix re at the beginning of a sentence, then you must know that word is something to do with something happening again. All right. So now we're going to aplusstudents.ca. Actually, before we go to aplusstudents.ca, let us look at a few examples, few more examples of prefixes, which is pre, and the prefixes of re. So can you think of a few examples of the with the prefix pre and the prefix re? All right. And if we were to look at a few words, right, with the prefix, let's say first with the re, because that is again, I think it's more a bit easier. If I reconstruct something, then what does it mean? If I were to reconstruct something, then what does it mean? Reconstruct. So, reconstruct something is where you are basically constructing something again. You see, so basically, what you're just doing is like you are repeating the word. It's where you are constructing something again. Rename. Rename. If you have to rename something, and if we were to rename something, then it would basically be you naming something again. You see, all you do is you take the base word and you basically just use the word, the prefix, the meaning of the prefix again. Then we have a word rejoin. That's where we joining again. Retell. If somebody told me something, now I am retelling the story. I'm telling the story again. Or if a story was very juicy and now you are retelling the story. So you're basically telling it again. Repaint, especially now that it is almost Christmas, people are repainting their houses to bring about that Christmas cheer. So you're painting again. Right. And if we look at the words, at the prefix pre, words with the prefix pre, which means before, then we can say preheat. If you are baking, right, and they say preheat the oven, then what does that mean? Preheat. And if you were to preheat the oven, they're telling you while you are busy preparing your things to bake, then you need to switch on the oven. You need to heat the oven before the time. That is what it means to preheat something. If we look at another word, preface. We can either say preface or we can say, let's say preview. That's a word that we've heard before. Preview. This is similar to almost like pre-screening. It's where you see something before other people see it. You view something before the others see it. So these are but a few examples of prefixes with pre that means before, and prefixes with re that means again. And once again, a prefix is a word that we add at the beginning of a base word. and knowing the meaning of a prefix can help you to determine the meaning of a word. Right? All right, so now we're going to aplusstudents.ca. We're just going to go over a few activities and then we are going to do our test. And we see our lessons are prefixes with pre and prefixes with re. So that is going to be our focus. All right. Yet says we already went over what a prefix is. It means before. Now it says what helps prevent a cold. What helps prevent a cold? Prevent. Prevent. So what helps prevent a cold? Things that you must do before getting a cold. And the things that you need to do to help prevent a cold is you need to wash your hands frequently. They say you need to drink lots of water. Take meds before the time, just to prevent you from getting a cold. Dress warmly. So there's literally certain things that you need to do to prevent you from getting a cold before you get a cold. Things that you need to do before you get a cold. All right. The next one says, when would a group of people pre screen a movie? So, when will a group of people pre screen a movie? When will they pre screen a movie? And a group of people would pre screen a movie before a film or movie is released to the public. Then they pre screen the movie. They watch the movie. And I made an example where I said that usually they'll get celebrities, they'll get the cast, they'll get the family members of the people, of the actors, and so on to come and watch this film before it is released to the public. Right? And the last one before we go on to our test. When is a pre-built shed put together? A pre-built shed together. So when is a pre-built shed put together? And when you pre-build, right? So when is a pre-built shed put together? It is before you take it home. So usually what people do nowadays is they pre-build a shed so that by the time you take it home, right, then the structures or some of the structures are already there, like your sides. So all you do is you just basically put the sides together. And then your shed is basically done, not from scratch. All right, so now we're going to our test on words with pre. And remember, pre means before. It says, when might you see a preview for a new television show? When might you see a preview for a new television show? Is it option one, before the show has been released? Or option two, after the show has been released? When might you see a preview for a new television show? Before option one, the show has been released, or option two, after the show has been released. And we might see a preview for a new television show. Option one, before the show has been released. So before the show has been released. The next one says, when might you read a pre-print of a book? Pre-print. A pre-print. Is it option one, before a book is published? Or option two, when you buy the finished book? So before the book is finished, option one, or option two, when you buy the finished book, the pre-print. And we might read a preprint of a book before a book is published. And who is more likely to take part in a pre college program? Is it adults, option one, or high school students, option two? Adults, option one, or high school students, option two? And somebody or people who is more likely to take a pre college program is high school students. Because remember, high school students, they still need to finish school. They haven't gone to college yet. So they need to do a pre college program. All right. The next one says, which of these is part of the pre writing process before you write? Is it editing or research? Before you write, do you edit, option one, or do you research? So, option one, editing, or option two, we need to research. That is now before, that is now part of the pre writing process. And the word that is part of the pre writing process is to research. Remember, we research, we jot down our ideas, then you start writing. Once you have written and you're not fully satisfied, but you know, you are a bit satisfied with what you have written, now you do your editing and you continue writing. Right? So researching. We need to research before we write and then we edit. All right, so now words with re. And remember, we said re means again. And refreeze. Which would you refreeze? So there's a lot of things that you would refreeze, right? One of it being ice blocks that is starting to melt. Something that is starting to melt, we would refreeze, right? All right, so now we're going to our test where we have words with re, and re means again. And it says, with whom might you reconnect? With whom might you reconnect? Is it option one, a stranger you've never met before? Or option two, a friend you haven't seen in a very long time? With whom might you reconnect? And if there's somebody that you might reconnect with, we are connecting with that person again, then it is a friend that you haven't seen in a very long time. You're reconnecting, you're catching up. We haven't seen each other in a very long time. So now you guys are catching up. Basically, where you last met, the last conversation that you had. Let's put it like that. You cannot reconnect with a stranger because now you're going to connect with a stranger, not reconnect. Which might you have to relearn? You have to learn it again. Is it option one, a trick you've forgotten how to do, or a game you've never learned how to play? So you might have to relearn. Is it a trick you've forgotten to do, or a game you've never learned how to play? Which one do you have to relearn? And something that you're going to have to relearn is a trick that you've forgotten how to do because you know you did it before, right? It's like you're telling yourself, like, yeah, I used to be good in this. But since you haven't done it in a very long time, you now basically have to relearn how to do something. Learn it again, practice in order for you to be good at it again. But you cannot learn again something that you've never done before. You first have to do something, then, if you forget it, you basically relearn yourself. So, option one is correct. And the last one says, which might you reheat? Which might you reheat? Something that you might reheat. So, something that you might reheat. And is it option one, the leftovers from last night's meal, or option two, the raw ingredients for tonight's meal? Something that you might reheat. Leftovers. or option two, raw ingredients. And something that you must reheat is leftovers because the food was already prepared. We just put it in the fridge. Now we need to reheat it. But raw ingredients you still have to do from scratch. Hi, Kevin. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson on prefixes. We said that knowing the word of a prefix will help to determine the meaning of a word, and prefixes are words that is added before or at the beginning of a base word. We focus on the word pre and the word re. Pre means before, re means again. All right, so this is the end of our lesson. Thank you very much, grade 8, for joining the class, and I really hope that you are going to have a good evening further. So, till next time, goodbye.